We've got some very rare spiders to unbox. Welcome to the Tarantula Collective. My name is Richard, and today we've got some velvet spiders and some very rare tarantulas that we're gonna unbox. I'm very excited. If this is your first time checking out my channel, I make videos about tarantulas, scorpions, and other arachnids and invertebrates. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on all notifications so you're alerted every time I upload new content. Now, this package just arrived today from Eresus Spider Shop in California, and I'm very excited to see what's in here. I've gotten a lot of new inverts this week, but today we're just gonna focus on what's in this box. Now, if you're not familiar with Eresus Spider Shop, they're fairly new to the US. This is actually the second package I got from them. I'll link the video to the first unboxing at the end of this video. But they're located out in California, and I believe they have the largest selection of inverts of any business in the country. Somewhere just over 300 different species of arachnids and inverts. I don't think there's anybody out there breeding and selling that many different species. And I also have a 10% discount code that I'll give you towards the end of the video as well. So be sure to stick around. All right, enough talking. Let's open up this box and see what's inside. Eresus Spider Shop. Looks like it's packed very nicely. Got a cool pack. It's been brutally hot outside. Trying to be very careful because I know these are some very rare species. All right, I have found them. All right, so they sent 5 different spiderlings. So let's check out which species we've got now. All right, so first off, we got the Phormictopus species Rose Blue. Now, this tarantula is very new to the hobby as it was just discovered in the Dominican Republic. And these slings are from the only egg sac that's available in the United States. Now, this is a little guy, so I've got a little sling enclosure we're gonna set it up in. Now, this species does like a little more humidity, a little more moisture to the substrate than most spiderlings. So we'll make sure we get this one set up nicely. Now, what I'm using here is just some Reptisoil. Now, this applies to pretty much all tarantulas, but this genus, the Phormictopus genus in particular, as hobbyists, we should be very careful not to crossbreed these. We should never mix the Phormictopus color forms to produce hybrids, even though some of these species will breed with each other. Apparently, there's someone in Germany that's doing this with the Xenethus genus and selling these hybrids to the US as new species. But this is actually one of the worst things we can do as hobbyists. If we continue to crossbreed these different colors, these different species, to produce hybrids of different color forms, all we're doing is just mixing up these bloodlines. And in a few years, it can be very difficult to find purebred species within this genus. I'm gonna fill it up a little less than halfway and really dampen that bottom layer of substrate. Spray a lot of water on it. So if it wants more humidity, it can just dig deeper. All right, so the bottom layer is gonna be nice and damp, and we're just gonna add some dry substrate on top. We'll throw in a little piece of cork bark for a hide, and a little bit of sphagnum moss to kind of help keep the humidity out. Now let's take a closer look at this beauty because I've never seen this species before. All right, now let's move in the tarantula. Alright, so that's the Phormictopus species rose blue. Up next, Cyrtopholis, something like that. So we'll just say Cyrtopholis species Dominican Republic. Now let's take a look at this sling. Now the Cyrtopholis is the first horned tarantula that's been discovered in the Dominican Republic, and only Eresus spider shop has them. And essentially we're going to set it up the same way. We'll do a damp layer of substrate on the bottom with some drier substrate on top, provide a hide, some sphagnum moss, and I think it'll be good to go. Getting new species is awesome, but the downside is sometimes there's not a lot of information or any information at all about how to keep them. But if you're getting a spiderling, it's pretty simple. For the most part, all spiderlings require the same type of setup. And I found this approach works very well no matter what species I'm getting. I just provide them a damp layer of moisture on the bottom, a dry layer on top, and some sphagnum moss in the corners that I'll dampen so it provides a little bit of humidity. And over time, I can tell what the spiderling or what the tarantula prefers, and then over time I can make adjustments to the enclosure to provide the environment the tarantula seems to prefer. Now up next is another little spiderling, and this is the Holconia murrayensis. This is an Australian huntsman spider, and it's the first time that captive bred slings have been available here in the United States. So let's get this beauty set up. Now since this is a huntsman spider, it does need more of an arboreal setup, so I'm going to dampen the substrate on the bottom level like I have with the past two enclosures, add a layer of dry substrate, some sphagnum moss, and some vertical bark. And hopefully it will make itself at home with no problems. Alright, it looks happy in its home, so let's move on to the stars of this video. Now finally, this is a species that I've been waiting on for a long time. This is Eresus walckeaneri. You might know it more commonly as a velvet spider. I have tried multiple times to get one of these spiders in my collection. It seems every time that I found out that a dealer had some available, by the time I contacted them, they were all sold out. So let's get these set up and moved in. Now these are just little spiderlings. They're not as small as that horned tarantula from the Dominican Republic, but they're still rather tiny. I'm going to use the same type of spiderling enclosure, but from what I've researched, they do prefer a drier environment. So I'm not going to dampen the substrate. I'm just going to put dry substrate in there and a lot of sphagnum moss and branches, because apparently they like to web up the top of the enclosure. So we got both of those velvet spiders rehoused. They're looking very healthy, and I can't wait to watch them grow. As I mentioned before, I'm going to keep them more on the dry side, and I'm not going to feed them anything larger than probably half their body size. So right now we're looking at fruit flies, cricket legs, maybe some like pinhead crickets or roaches. And they do grow slow. It can take up to 4 years for them to reach maturity, so you really need to be patient. Now if you want to pick up one of these velvet spiders for yourself, or maybe the Huntsman spider, or pretty much any tarantula, head over to eresusspidershop.com. Now this is only available for those living in the United States, but if you use this code right here, you'll get 10% off your entire order. Now this is only good for 7 days, so be sure to take advantage of it as soon as possible, because a week from the day this video gets uploaded, the code will expire and will no longer be applicable. But they do have some very low prices, so even if you don't get to use this code, you're still gonna find some really good deals. So a huge thanks to Eresus Spider Shop for sending me these spiders. If you wanna see exactly how I unpack and rehouse spiderlings, just check out this video right here. And if you wanna see the last unboxing video I did from Eresus Eresus spider shop, just watch this one right here. As always, I appreciate you watching. Subscribe if you want to see more. Only by captive bred tarantulas, and I will see you next Tuesday.